Now taking you live to Sydney Airport to bring you more reaction to our top story today about cheap flights being offered by the government. This is the Transport Workers Union speaking about this.
So what we have is a Prime Minister playing politics while driving a dagger through the heart of aviation families across the country. We know today, because Alan Joyce said it, that the government has been in negotiations for months with Qantas. But never has the Prime Minister agreed to meet with workers or unions. The Prime Minister has rejected our calls repeatedly to speak with us. There's been no consultation with workers. Those workers whose families will suffer because of the announcement that was made by the Prime Minister this morning. Aviation unions have this morning written to the Prime Minister. We've requested an urgent meeting. It is critical that the Prime Minister makes an announcement extending JobKeeper in aviation until the effects of the virus have passed. It's only that measure that is going to ensure that we have an aviation industry that's ready to go, and it's only that measure that is going to support the families that have been holding on by the skin of their teeth for the last year. The federal government has ploughed hundreds of millions of dollars into JobKeeper in domestic aviation, and they run the risk now, the very real risk, of that falling at the final hurdle, of domestic aviation crumpling because he's decided, rather than to extend it, to kill it today and to drive a dagger through the hearts of aviation workers right across this country. I'll hand over to John Lyons, the President of the Virgin Pilots Association.
Thanks, Michael. Yes, look, I haven't had a chance to read the fine print on the offer or the program that's been published today, but it seems to me that it's all about companies and not about individuals. The aviation industry is on the point of a slow recovery, and I'm sure that recovery would pick up over the next few months. But this offering cheap fares is not going to put food on the table. It's not going to keep the pilots that keep the airlines flying. It's not going to keep them current. It's not going to encourage the airlines to give them more work, because they'll still be stood down and stood up according to the aircraft, the operators' needs. So I think we've got to be very aware of what Michael has said, that the underlying theme for this has been that Qantas has been negotiating it for months. The scheme funds Qantas and its international operations. It's not going to do any good for the industry and for the pilots in particular.
JobKeeper was never perfectly designed for the aviation industry. There were large numbers of people working in the industry who weren't eligible, but for those who have been eligible, which has been the majority, it's been a lifeline for them. What happened today is the Prime Minister decided that if your job depends on JobKeeper, then the support is about to fall off a cliff. The Prime Minister today has decided that the vast majority of people in hospitality and the tourism sector, that it's okay for them to be left behind, and that he's not on their side. That's what today's decision is. There will be some jobs in some parts of Australia that will benefit from the programs that are announced, but the vast majority of workers in tourism and aviation get left behind as a result of today's announcement. The vast majority of jobs that have been dependent on JobKeeper find that you get all the way through to 12 months after the pandemic and the lockdowns really got going, and having carried us through to this point, then people get dumped.